The family flourished for 7 generations and finally declined by the end of the Qing dynasty. Today, about 480 rooms remain, taking up a total of 20,000 square meters. A few spots of the manor worth notice. The buildings are carefully arranged along an axis. A myrtle tree, called the Inchi tree because it quivers as you scratch it, and a wall patterned by various rocks.
Wow, even the windows are carefully decorated. These people really knew how to enjoy their life. Now I'm in one of the bedrooms, and one thing particular is that there is an opening below the window of this bedroom. You know what's that for? You have to find it out inside the room.
Now, this is no ordinary bed. It's called kang. In northern part of China, people burn fuel like wood, charcoal inside the bed to keep it warm in winter's time. And the opening was used to feed the fuel. It was built outside the room to keep all the smoke outside. Very scientific, isn't it? Now inside this kang, there's another opening. You know what's that for?
Okay, the beds keep both you and your shoes warm.
The expressway network on the Shandong Peninsula does live up to its reputation. The highway between Yantai and Weihai is really well maintained, and the ride itself through the vast fields is great pleasure. Picturesque Weihai is more likely to be called a garden city. It is also one of China's biggest seafood production bases. Around here, the waters generate 300 kinds of aquatic delicacies each year. Facing the bay and backing the hills, the small city commands a great view. A number of parks dot the 1,000-kilometer-long coast. The first impression of the city is of a place that is modern yet simple. You won't have any traffic problems, and many people from the big cities choose to buy seaside villas here. One major tourist attraction in Weihai is Liugong Island, an island loaded with modern Chinese history. It is the birthplace of China's very first modern navy, the Northern Navy, from the Qing dynasty.
I have a very interesting anecdote for you. Before the Northern Navy was set up, the Qing dynasty had its national flag in the shape of a triangle. However, to make communications with other countries easier for the Navy, the dynasty changed its flag from a triangle into a rectangle, following international practice. Like those ones behind me. Now you can see how important the Navy was.
The Northern Navy trained here on Liugong Island. Because most of its high-ranking officials had a Western education, the Navy was established just like one in the West. For the first time in China, epaulets became part of the Navy uniform. But the Northern Navy is not remembered just because it was the first of its kind in China. What makes the Navy immortal is its heroic yet tragic fight against the Japanese invaders by the end of the 19th century, right on the waters beside Liugong Island. In the end, the whole fleet died fighting, while the chief commander, Ding Ruchang, committed suicide, dying with his sailors. Along with the Navy's headquarters are the sailors' barracks. The sailors would man the cannons that point out to the sea.
So this is the barrack for the Navy personnel. Hundreds of people were stationed around here in these stone structures. And one thing special around here is that these barracks were linked with the cannon outside with tunnels. So the soldiers could reach the cannons as soon as possible. And this is where the ammunition was stored, behind all these walls. And they have a very efficient way of sending the shells up to the cannon through this small tunnel. And guess what are these openings for? They are for candles and lamps. Okay, 2.5 minutes. I believe the Navy sailors would be much faster than me.
In this part of China, many people live in a special kind of home called a seaweed house. The house is made of stone, and the roof is thatched with seaweed. In Hekou village, I went to visit the home of old Granny Qu.
咱们这个房子有多少年头了？
咱们200-300年有了。我17岁来了，就住了好几代。
好几代。
住好几代。我今年都差2岁，就80岁。这个房子都修了，老修了好几遍。修了好几遍。
这房顶上铺的是什么东西啊？
海的，底下是草，上的是海棠。
哦，底下是草。
底下是草，上的是海棠。
哦。
这个海棠都是上海里去捞的，海里捞的，这捞都不够，再去买都上西部去买，买的找人生这个房子。
People in Hekou village have lived on the ocean for generations. Now they take a new profession, tourism. There are many ways to catch fish, such as using a rod or a net. But here, the locals use one efficient method. It's called pulling out the cages. They send the cages or pots down to the seabed and come back the next day to see what has been caught. We had a small harvest, with me paying a small price.
You know what? I'm going to have some crab for my dinner.
It's the first time I've been fishing at sea, and I have no experience to compare it with. But my fellow fisherman says it's much more exciting than fishing in the river or on the pond. At dusk, the setting sun turned the blue sea into liquid gold. The whole picture is a moment of true serenity that makes you forget how capricious the ocean can be. The sea is not always generous and gentle. Things change with bad weather. When it gets rough, there is another beauty to see.
Traditionally, the Chinese people believe gods live either on the mountain or on the sea. Both Shan'tou and Wei'hai are on the easternmost tip of China, facing the ocean. That's why Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China who lived 2,000 years ago, came here in search of immortality. He called this place the end of the earth, the end of the sky. It's also the end of this episode of Travelogue. I'm Liu Changying. I'll see you around somewhere else in the Middle Kingdom next time.